Good morning. This short video is going to be an opportunity for us to deepen the embodiment of letting go in our lives. Perhaps there's something tangible that we want to let go. Perhaps there's something internal we want to let go. Or perhaps we're looking to just come to a deeper state of peace and presence and let go of whatever it is that might feel like it's blocking us from accessing real appreciation and receptivity to our lives. Analogy that has been very helpful for me lately that came to mind during meditation recently. Very simple analogy, but very helpful. I've noticed when I go to meditation, there's a much different, we could say, state of consciousness or state of being, at least on the surface, than we embody in our day-to-day activities and out in the world. When we're out in the world, there's a lot of content going on. Mental and emotional reactions and thoughts and things that are always popping up, provoking us into needing to respond to them, needing to get involved. Whereas in meditation, those contents relax and we find ourselves in a deeper state of openness. Or we could say, like the Buddhists say, a state of emptiness. I feel a state of like I'm empty. I don't have the same thoughts, the same worries, the same concerns, or the same feelings. Maybe even not the same sense of self, the same ego. I'm just an open space of presence. That's who we are when we enter the world. And the analogy that has come to mind is if you can imagine a building filled up with different stories, different floors, there's a floor for every year of our lives. And if you can imagine this building, you can imagine floor one. We first come into this body. We come into the room on floor one, and it's just open space. Open space, nothing in it. No self-image, no thoughts of the world, no sense of right or wrong, no sense of who I need to be, no sense of lack. I'm just pure presence in this open space. Of course, we notice children in this first few seasons of life are the happiest, generally, that any of us ever are. Children, and when we're with children, when we're with these younger versions of ourselves that are more like these empty rooms, they invite us into that state, into that childlike state. But see what happens as we get to the second floor, the third floor, the fourth floor. What once was that open, empty space is now starts to be filled with different contents. Slowly, there starts to be a name. Oh, I'm Barrett. This is a content in the room. I am a boy. This is a content in the room. I have these parents. They play these roles, so on and so forth. And then as we go into the other rooms, so I'm good at music. I'm not good at math. I love pancakes. I don't love broccoli. More content. We just can imagine that these are contents now filling up the room. Then as we go on, we have more and more experiences in our lives. I fell in love. It was beautiful. I got my heart broken. I won some award, some recital or some sporting event. I lost. I failed at something. More and more contents. Now fast forward 10 years, 20 years down the line. I've been married but now I've had a divorce. I had a great job. I lost it. I performed well at this thing. Now I feel like I might be a failure. My body isn't what it used to be. Now I have a different self-image of who I am. All of these different contents in the room now. Compare that to the first room when we came here in this body. spaciousness, nothing there. As we age, 10, 20, 30, so on and so forth, as the decades go by, more and more contents. And then suddenly we feel we're not happy with who we are. And we might have everything. We have the relationship, we have the money, we have the career, we have the things, we have the luxuries and the comforts, but something's missing. So we get into spirituality. We add spirituality as a content to the room. I'm going to start practicing spirituality. I'm going to start meditating, attending retreats. I'm going to go to therapy. More content. Adding more content, thinking that more content is going to give us more space. Then we start adding, okay, that hasn't worked. Now I just need to let go. We have the content of letting go until we're so overcrowded, we don't know how to navigate ourselves. We don't even know how to be anymore. We've lost touch with who we are, which is the spaciousness. There's no space there. No space around the things in our lives, no space around our mental and emotional reactions and projections. And now I have this recognition, true recognition, I need to let go. And now I have no space around needing to let go. A horrible state to be in, not having any space, any room. So how do we actually let go? By, again, coming back to ourselves. By not identifying with the content of our mind, not identifying with the content of our lives, which means not investing a personal sense of me into my roles in the world or into my experiences. The things that have happened to me aren't ultimate statements about who I am. And notice, the thoughts that appear in my mind aren't ultimate statements about who I am. My feelings aren't ultimate statements about who I am. My self-image, who I believe myself to be, a bundle of thoughts and feelings and experiences, not ultimately who I am. Who am I? Actually, deeply asking the question, who am I, is often a first step to letting go. Who am I takes us back to the first floor, back to stillness, spaciousness, openness, emptiness. How do we get to stillness, spaciousness, openness, emptiness? Not by adding this additional content of needing to let go and then tensing up and practicing. We often practice letting go like this. And in last week's video, I showed it like this. Now it's like this. Okay, I'm going to let go. That is the opposite of letting go. That is adding more content. Letting go happens on its own as we come back to ourselves and have the courage and commitment to be here, be presence with all of the content, the uncomfortable content, the stories of my failures, of my losses, of the loved ones that are no longer here, of the potential trauma that this body and mind have been through, of all the fear, what's going to happen to me tomorrow? Will I ever get better? Is there anything that is going to make my life okay, worthy, meaningful again? All of the content, the courage to be with the content and not invest a sense of self into them, which is again just being with. Breathing. Settling. Knowing that uncomfortable content can be here and I can be stable, spacious, present for it. This is the path of going back down the stories, down the rooms, back to open spaciousness. So whatever content is there, good content, bad content, that's the thing that I am being non-reactive, open, spacious with. An uncomfortable feeling doesn't mean that I haven't made quote unquote spiritual progress. It doesn't mean that all the quote unquote work that I've done in meditation or whatever it may be isn't worth anything. The uncomfortable things that come up are the thing to practice with right now. It takes courage, it takes commitment. But that's how we truly get to this, get back to the happiness we had as children, to the peace we had as children, which is the peace really of our essential spacious nature. So if you have a reflection on this, I welcome them in the comments. Please drop a comment below, and we'll see you in the community this week.